Well, hi again, and welcome to today's webinar presented by the Georgia State University Alumni Association. We're so glad you're able to join us. Our topic this afternoon is dumped, not dumped on. And we'd like to welcome our viewers watching from Atlanta on StreamYard platform, as well as those of you joining us on Facebook Live and on YouTube Live. Today's webinar is another in our series to educate, inform, and connect with our Georgia State alumni across the country and in the Atlanta area. We will have a question and answer session following the presentation, as always. You can submit questions on the StreamYard page and by posting on the Georgia State Alumni Facebook page. Again, we're glad you're with us today. We hope you find this webinar to be helpful, valuable, and informational. Our guest speaker is a Georgia State alum, class of 1989, Gladys Agwai. And it's my pleasure to welcome Gladys as today's presenter. Gladys, great to have you with us, and I'm looking forward to your presentation today.
Thank you so much, Dave. I am excited to be here with my fellow alum and appreciate you all joining for this, I think, really important topic around rejection. We've all experienced it.
All right, take it away.
Okay, great. So I picked up the phone one day and all I heard at the other end was, "I just got dumped." She had been called into her manager's office and she didn't know why. She was nervous. It was all of a sudden. And as she was walking towards his office, she was wondering, well, what's going on? What did I do? Is there something wrong? What's happening? And as she was walking, she just looked at the manager's assistant, and her manager's assistant eyes glanced the other way. And she got even more nervous. Her stomach started to churn and all of that. And she finally got to her manager's office, and her manager got straight to the point. He says, "I'm sorry, but I have to let you go." And went through some explanation. But as they're going through that explanation, when you've heard it, your mind is somewhere else at that point. You're having this out of body experience because you're in this state of shock of what has gone on. And so they came into the manager's office and they had to escort her out, causing another embarrassment, hurt, shame, guilt, as she walked back to her desk to pick up her belongings. And then they escorted her out of the door. Now, I just talked about an example of work, but we've all experienced that with rejection, where maybe it was a spouse or a personal partner who said, "Let's have a conversation." And in these days, send you a text saying, "I no longer want to be a part of this." Or it could be family or friends. It could be anyone. It could be, "I didn't get into the school I wanted to get into. I didn't get the loan I wanted to get into. I couldn't get the job that I was aspiring to get to. I was rejected from being considered and to be able to be employed by someone that I really wanted to work with." So rejection happens all of the time within our lives. And what I have found in my life, I have experienced people who have come to me, and 5 years later, they're still thinking about the time they got, rejected, laid off, fired from their job. Nobody else is going to hire me. I'm not going to make the money I used to make. Once you get fired or leave that relationship, your friendship relationships change, the dynamics of everything's change, and you begin to live and keep reliving that negative experience of being dumped over and over and over and over again. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the quote that I love here is, there are plenty of places where you're going to face rejection, but the mirror should not be one of them. And that's what we do when we get dumped. And so I want and hope that by the end of this presentation, you understand that just because you've been dumped does not mean you have to get dumped on. that you will see and seize upon the opportunity of being dumped, of being rejected. But let's not roll over the fact that rejection hurts. And these are all of the feelings that you can feel when it comes to that. You feel hopeless, careless, you feel selfish, unlovable, ugly. You self reject to avoid rejection because that rejection hurts. The uncertainty of it. Now, what am I going to do? How the hell did I get here? What do I do now? What do I do next? Are all of these emotions that just come in to our heads that we just keep. And so every opportunity that comes up, we then think that it's tied back to that rejection that we've experienced or those multiple rejections that we've experienced. And we get into this cycle of trying something a little bit new, but before we even fully engage, we pull back. So we self reject to avoid being rejected again, which is not going to get you to the end goal that you are looking to achieve. And rejection, it hurts not just emotionally. We're not just sad and frustrated or angry or hurt behind it. We also have physical pains, headaches, backaches, stomach aches. As she was walking into her office, she talked about how she started getting those stomach pains and cramps just out of the sheer nerves of the uncertainty of what does my manager want with me. So know and accept the fact that it hurts. I don't want you to ignore it. I don't want it to just roll over. I don't want you to go 200 miles an hour through this process. Admit and accept that it hurt, and it hurt you maybe more than you realized that it did. But then we're going to turn out and we're going to do something about that because this will keep you sick. This will keep you stuck. This will keep you scared. This will keep you frustrated over and over and over and over again. And you are going to project that negative energy out wherever you go. I don't care if you have a smile on your face, because you know how we put the mask on like everything is okay. But people can still feel that negative energy that comes out from it. And so I say that there is a time for change, and we receive those signals of change. So we know that change is constant. It's constant. It's inevitable. Change just is. And we go through our lives as though we're removed from the change that might happen. But we're not. And so it's time for us to recognize that time is, and that you're accountable for how you deal with change in your life, in your business, or in your career. And how are you going to deal with the changes of time that will impact your life, and be more reactive, be more proactive with those changes that come versus being reactive? We know that there can be economic hardships. We know that there can be health issues that come up. We know this. Technology changes. And so, how do you stop having blinders on when it comes to change and start looking at change more openly, and how change might impact you and the opportunities that can come from change? So, how do you reframe your thinking around change to see change as an opportunity versus change as a negative? And when we start thinking about, and I want you to look at this particular chart, and I want you to ask yourself, where am I? Am I sitting in my comfort zone, afraid to make a move, want to make a move, want to go into a new career path, want to go and ask for that raise, want to go and ask for that promotion, want to come out of that organization and go into another organization, want to go and talk to this ideal client, but you decide you're going to stay within your own environment? But change is going to put you into having to get out of your comfort zone and into a fear zone. Yes, there's fear around change, and that's okay. Where you have that lack of confidence and you start finding all kind of excuses as to why you need to go back and stay in your comfort zone. But let me tell you about being in your comfort zone. You're not comfortable because sitting in your comfort zone, you may know what's going on and you know how to do everything because you've been doing it for a while and all of that. But there's something internal that's going along with you that's telling you something's just not right. Something. So you're not really comfortable sitting in that comfort zone. But I am telling you that you are here and you are destined to live outside of your comfort zone and just journey through the fear of getting taking a step out that comfort zone. What do you need to learn? How do you deal with the challenges and problems? So you're really getting to know who you are when you step outside that comfort zone and you challenge and conquer those fears that come along with that uncertainty of being in areas where you had not explored before. Right? Are you acquiring new skills or are you getting into your learning zone and you say, oh my God, it's just too much? Maybe you got into college, into the university, or getting your master's degree, a PhD, and you say, this is just too much. Let me go back into my comfort zone and be uncomfortable, by the way. But I want you to move through this process to get to your growth zone because that is where you live excitedly within the opportunity, within your aspirations, within what it is that you want for your life. It is there. That is where it is. But once you even get into your growth zone, there's going to be new goals that you're going to set that's going to take you back into comfort zone, fear zone. So this is a cycle of a journey that you will continually go through. But I will tell you, if you will challenge yourself to continue to journey through this cycle of zones, that you will be the benefactor of that to achieve what it is that you desire and to achieve what it is that you deserve. And so I talked about change before and how change is constant and change just is. But guess what? We have signals that come to us about change, but we ignore them. I'm not going to even say we miss them. We ignore them. You ignore them. There are signals that tell you that it's clear. Wait a minute, just be cautious about it. You need to stop. You need to change directions. We have signals, and those signals are internal, that sadness, that frustration, that anger. It's telling you something. It's telling you that something's just not right. And instead of ignoring that as you run 200 miles an hour with these fleeting thoughts about it, that you need to sit with yourself long enough to understand it and to acknowledge that, ooh, something's not right. Why am I feeling so frustrated? Why am I feeling this angst? To make sure that you are understanding that so that you can then make a plan and make the adjustment, right? And be adapter, as we say. So we have these internal signals, even joy and happiness, those are signals for you as well. And those signals say, ooh, keep that coming. What is that? Why is that making me so happy? Because so often you'll say, I just want to be happy. Well, what does happiness mean to you? I don't know. That's the three words I hear from my clients. I don't know. Well, what do you want to do? I don't know. I want to make money. Well, how much money you want to make? I want a good job. Well, what does a good job mean to you? I want to be in a great relationship. Well, what does a great relationship look like? And are you a person who is great, right? So don't ignore these signals, those water cooler conversations, what you see in the media, the right media, quality media, that's truth media. That we tend to have problems with truth these days, right? And who can we trust? to be truthful with the conversations and the messages that they are delivering to us. But those are things that we still have to sort through, look at multiple resources and things like that. But you are responsible for ensuring that you know the signals and to be aware of the signals of change. What's happening within the economy? What's happening with you financially? What's happening with you emotionally in your relationships, whether that's relationship with a spouse or partner, maybe you have children, what's happening with your children? What are those signals coming into you? They're coming in, but again, you have to slow down so that you can read and feel those signals of change. But what's the impact if you ignore them? Which of these impacts have you ignored? Put in the chat, what have been some signals that you have ignored? And what has been the cost of you ignoring those signals? What's been some signals? Lost relationships, money, time, right? Because we live in this denial, we live in frustration all the time, we live in this place of sadness, we live in this place of anger. We live in this place of feeling we're not enough, we're not capable, and I'll get into that a little bit later. And then you're always looking for someone else to change, they or it, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your boss, your child. And because you're looking for them to change, you stay stuck in a situation, stuck in relationships, stuck in a negative mindset because you're depending on someone else to make that change that's going to then have a more positive impact on your life versus you taking ownership of the change that is going on and what the impact will be in your life. So note, what are some signals that you've been feeling internally and externally that you have been ignoring down? Put it in the chat. Get it out of here and put it down so that it will have a greater impact and awareness. More awareness will come to you for you to then take action on that. So there is this impact, but you have some responsibility and you have some opportunity. So I say that you need to learn how to lead yourself first. Lead yourself first, because when you're leading yourself first, you don't have to be the reactor of change, the reactor of those signals coming to be, the reactor of the rejection that is coming into your life and into your world. If you are leading yourself first, you are knowing who you are. And as a leader within organizations, I'm talking about leadership within yourself here, but it applies to organizationally as well as with you, is that you have values. You're responsible for coming up. What are your values? My values are integrity, excellence in everything that I do. And I have to turn those values into action. And I have to align those values whether or not it's convenient for me to align them or not. I was living over in Africa on an international assignment with my company, IBM. And I was very concerned that within that environment, there's a lot of temptation around integrity. And what am I going to be challenged with when it comes to my integrity, when it comes to doing business, even doing business as a business owner? And so your values, when you define them, when you're leading yourself, they don't change. Regardless of the circumstances, you have to act upon what you said your values are. You have to take your vision, identify vision, and turn it into reality. So you can't have a vision for your life. You want to be doing something within your career life, within your relationship life. You have a vision for it, but then you don't take actions to turn that into reality. And I want to say a positive reality, because reality can be negative and it can be positive, right? What about the obstacles that you might face in life? You have to manage your pain. You can't just allow the obstacles to come into your life and then you just let it absorb you. Like I said, reliving the negative impact, can't get out of it, don't see opportunities, stay stuck in it year upon year upon year. It's your responsibility as the leader of your life to turn your obstacles into innovations, the risks, because you can't come up out of your comfort zone if you are not taking risks. But as a leader, your risks need to turn into reward. And what is the plan and the mitigating things that you're going to be doing to turn that risk into a reward? That is your responsibility as a leader of your life. And what happens, we be leading our businesses and leading our organizations and leading teams and forget about the most important priority, and that's leading you first. How are you leading in your life? How are you creating solidarity? Because you're not on an island. You can't do it all on your own. So who are you bringing into your life in order to make the better difference for you? And with this rejection and this being dumped that I've been talking about, and saying that just because you've been dumped, you do not have to get dumped on, that you have to go through this, you're understanding your mindset and getting your mind right. Because when you get rejected, when you get dumped, you get into this place of self-sabotaging. Instead of you going this far, or I should maybe do this way, instead of you going this far, because you've been rejected, you're not going to go this far. You're only going to go right here, because you're going to get right here and you're going to be reminded of that rejection. You're going to be reminded of how you've been done. You're going to be reminded of the pain and the hurt emotionally and physically that happened when you were. You're supposed to be like this, but you don't go. So you self-sabotage. You have a mindset of scarcity. You're focusing on what you don't have, focused on what you're missing versus what you have and what you can have. And so I want you to look at these and say, do you have a mindset of limitation? You say that you have a goal that you want to achieve, whatever that is. Write down your goal. What is your goal? And what is the mindset of limitation that you have around that goal? Do you have a limited attention and focus that you're putting on it? You say you want a promotion, but what are you doing to bring attention to yourself and your achievements and your accomplishments so that other people see your value and your worth? What kind of work ethic do you have? Work approach do you have in order to do that? What are you doing to look for other opportunities within your current organization and externally to see what your marketability is? So are you putting limited attention and focus on driving the necessary behavior to get there? Do you have a limited emotional connect? Because if you're not emotionally connected to wanting that career, wanting that raise, wanting that business, wanting that client, wanting that love in your life, if you're not emotionally connected and committed to getting that, then you're not going to have the energy to go forward with it. You're going to make up all kind of excuses what not to do. Stay in the bed today, go in late, not do this, right? And then what are the routines and habits that you're putting behind what you said that you want to do? Are you getting up early to do what it is that you need to do? You want more clients. Well, are you making calls every day out to go and achieve getting more clients for your business? You want a relationship. Well, do you have routines and habits where you staying in the house all the time? Nobody can see you in the house. What about your desire to improve? You all are here today because you have a desire to improve whatever is your situation today. And then if you don't have control or influence on getting that job, getting that promotion, getting that raise, getting that spouse, that boyfriend, friend, whatever that is, are you a victim? Do you become a victim in complaining and all of that around this whole thing? Or are you a victor? What about your mind viruses? Do you feel worthy of success, love, peace, joy? Do you feel that you're capable to make that move outside of your comfort zone, that you have the skills and things that you need? Do you think that once you come out of that comfort zone that you're going to persevere and keep going and not quit? Are you going to keep that desire that you need? Are you going to believe that you are enough just as you are to get and to achieve what it is that you want? So, which one is resonating with you? Put it in the chat. Do you need to put the routines and habits around what it is that you said that you want to do? Because if you don't, you're not going to get it. Do you not feel capable? Because if you don't feel that you're capable, it's going to propel you, it's going to propel you forward or it's going to propel you back. If you feel that you're capable, it propels you forward. If you don't feel you're capable, it's going to propel you back. So which ones are resonating with you? And then set a plan and actions that you can do to drive more attention and focus on what you want, to get more committed, to have the routines and habits, right? To know that you're sitting in a victim place and you need to get yourself up out of that. To know that you are worthy. And why are you worthy? Yeah. And so, how do you not get dumped on? These are 4 agreements that I am asking that you make, and you sit which one sits and resonates with you as well, and put that in the chat. That rejection, whatever somebody does that hurts you, they do something to you, it's not personal. Don't take it personal. Even if they meant to do it, don't you take it personal, because they are just coming from their own place, from where they sit, from what they see, from what their experiences have been. So don't take it personal. Just leave, hear what they got to say, or don't walk away. But don't go back and take it personal and be looking in that mirror and rejecting yourself in that mirror because of what somebody else said. Don't make assumptions. They don't like me. They didn't call me back because they don't want to do business with me. Don't make those assumptions. Ask if you want to know. Speak up for what it is that you need to know. And regardless of whether you get dumped, rejected, it doesn't matter. You must always still do your best. And your best will fluctuate depending on what happens. When you first get that rejection and you feeling hurt and all of that, your best is not going to be as good as it is when you are on top of things and things are going great and wonderful in your life. But you have to recognize that and still move yourself forward, working to always do and be your best. And being honest, your integrity, being impeccable with your word. And another thing you need to do to ensure that you don't get dumped on is you got to know who you are. I mean, you got to know that you know that you know that you know. That's most important for you. Nobody should know you better than you know yourself. And you got to find within that uncertainty of being rejected and being dumped, you got to find the certainty in that. If you get fired from the job and dumped from the job, what's the certainty within that uncertainty? I know I've got skills. I know I've got experiences. I've got a support system. Right? I know how to go out. I'm resourceful. Find that certainty within that uncertainty. Because when you're uncertain, you're powerless. You feel powerless. Finding that certainty gives you your power back. And you want to assess, where are you? Where do you stand now? Where you want to be in the future? And what's the gap? Now, future, and the gap. And then closing that gap. And again, when you are hurt, you have to be intentional and have focused attention and intention to look for the good, to see and seize upon the opportunity, and accepting that, yes, you got dumped. I say dumped because it don't feel pretty to me. And it feel like you got dumped, like I got dumped. And again, getting certain within that. And if you need support through that, and then get the support that you need, but coming up with a plan of action, because none of this works if you don't take action. And then I say that if you're going to quit, there's a quit cycle, because you may come and you may say, well, forget it. I quit. I quit. I'm going to be the one that quits. I'm going to quit you. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to leave this relationship. Just know that you'll go through this quit cycle of second guess. Oh, my Lord, I don't know why I did that. I don't know. How am I going to pay my bills? I just didn't quit this job. I'm never going to find another relationship. I'm going to always be alone. And you go through the fear. Well, if my manager hadn't done this, if he hadn't, she hadn't done that, then I wouldn't even be in this place. And then you get overwhelmed and you start blaming and going through all of that, and just keep going through the cycle. But I'm saying that if you're going to quit these things. Quit allowing. Quit thinking change is going to go away, because it's not. Quit ignoring signals. Quit doubting yourself. Quit thinking it's going to work out on its own. Quit saying yes to everything. No is a sentence, as they say. Quit thinking you have no choice, because the choice is only yours. Quit doing the same thing with no results. Quit making excuses, quit being lazy, and quit waiting for the right time. Because there's no right time. When you make a decision, go work like hell to make sure that was the right decision. That's how you do that. And then the promise, and then we can go in through questions. After this is the promise of an overall better life. That you want to have that money, and I'm not going to read this to you. I'm going to let you read this, and you decide, what does a better life mean to you? If you were to come out of this spirit and negativity of rejection and feelings of rejection, what would it be like for you? How do you want to feel in your life? To have that better health, less stress in your life, being more attuned to signals of change, being proactive versus reactive, etc. So again, just because you have been dumped, it does not mean that you have to get dumped on now. But you have to come up out of it to at least be able to see the opportunities that can come from that. Getting into a relationship that you really wanted versus tolerating and accepting. Getting a job that you're really excited about, that's using your skills and experiences. But you have to come up out of all of that. So thank y'all for taking the time with me today. I wanted to make sure that you know that I'm offering a complimentary breakthrough clarity strategy session. It's a 45-minute strategy session customized to you and what it is that you need and what it is that you want and what you deserve in your life. And really coming up with some key points and steps that you can take from that call out into your life immediately. So if you want to do that, if you just key in stressfree.ignitewithin.org, we can make that happen. And then there's some If you want to reach out to me on social media, you have these things as well. So I'll leave this up as we, take in some questions.
Gladys, great presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Couple of questions that came in with that relates to the topic today, and we get a lot of inquiries, as you might imagine, in the Alumni Center with regards to employment opportunities, transferring from one field into another field by alums. You hear a lot about folks who go into networking events with a little bit of hesitation and apprehension. And as I was sitting here listening to your presentation, it reminded me of how many different alums that we have encountered over the years when it's been a career-oriented event or webinar that we've presented, who have that apprehension and that fear of going into a room of people that they don't know anybody, but they've got to put themselves out there. So is there a first step or an exercise that someone can take when attempting to put themselves out of that comfort zone that you were talking to? And I ask this again in relation to, say, a networking event where employment results are the end goal.
Yeah. What's really, really, really important, and I said it a little bit, is that you have to know who you are. And you have to get comfortable with who you are. And you have to understand when you have to go into a networking event, you get the signals, right? Your stomach start getting fluttery and all of that stuff. You have to take a notion and say, well, why is this? Why am I so scared to get into a new conversation with someone? A lot of times it's about, what will they think? Will I say the wrong thing? So will they really find out that I don't know what the hell I'm talking about? That I'm in this leadership position, but I don't really, I really don't know who this is, especially if you're talking to a higher level person, right? You start self-sabotaging and self-rejecting before you even had the opportunity to speak. So until you understand, why am I hesitant to do that? Why do I get these flutters? Why am I like in a standstill? You have to understand what that is. Because otherwise you won't ever know. You'll solve the wrong problem, right? You'll think it's that other individual when it's really not. You'll think it's because of your hair. And our hair don't look good today. But that's not what it is. You're intimidated and thinking that you will be judged based on getting in front of those people and having that conversation. And they're going to think negative of you because you're not going to come across like you should come across, as being knowledgeable or whatever. And so you have to know, and so that's just the fact, right? But you have to go into that anyway. And don't start going in talking to everybody about everything. Pick a person, or let that, and actually it's picking you. If you all would just allow, someone will come to you. You're attracting that person. You don't have to force fit yourself onto anyone. Who are you being drawn to? Naturally, comfortably. And then just go in to that person, and then just talk to them like you are best buddies. Hi, I'm Gladys. How you doing? I am really enjoying this event today. What about you? Can you tell me about yourself? I went to Georgia State in 1989, and I love my experience, and my daughter is going went to Georgia State as well. What are some common things that you can come up with? Come up with it before you even go in there. What are some things that you're going to say that you can say about yourself? questions, general questions you can ask them and kind of do a little prepare. And then you just have to practice. You just have to put yourself out there and you just gonna have to expose yourself and you just have to be vulnerable to make those mistakes and then come back and say, oh man, I should have said and I could have said and I must have looked like an idiot. I sounded I You're gonna go through that, but you know what? That's okay. Because the person you're talking to that you're so nervous about, they do the same thing. Right. But it takes practice. You have to go, you have to do it. It takes practice. And it's not just handing out a business card. What can you glean? Because you're listening. You want to listen. What can you glean from that person that there's some commonality, their location, family, where you can strike up a conversation about, that, even if you didn't live there, I was just there. I love that. Oh, it's got so much snow, whatever that is. And then you take it from there. Because what you want is not to be able to get that job standing right there. You want to be able to create something that's a little memorable so they remember Gladys a month, 3 months from now, when I had this conversation with Gladys and she was saying that she was doing this and wanted to do this. And you know what? Let me introduce you to her. That's what you want. So, what are you talking about? What are you telling them about yourself? You don't practice who you are and what you say, that elevator speech, your value proposition is what I call it. What's your value proposition when you're going in there? What is the objective of you even going to this network session? What are you trying to get out of it? I want to meet two people while I'm here, and I'm going to engage with two different people while I'm here. And I want to make sure that I share what it is that I'm doing and what I want to do, and hear and listen to what it is that they aspire to do and be, et cetera, and see if there's a commonality point where we can then engage. Yeah. Was that helpful?
Very much so. At the end of the day, it seems like, and I think a lot of people go through this, it's that whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's an employment situation, it's that quote unquote fear of moving forward.
Taking that step. And you know what? You will never get anything more than what you have right now if you don't take a step forward. It just won't happen. And so, is it more painful for you to stay where you are and not do anything and not get enough connections? Because you need connections, right? You need connections about a job before you need the job, right? So are you having more pain to go out there and get and establish those connections, or is it more painful for you to go and establish those connections, right? Where's the pain for you? Because you don't look at the play, you don't look at the outcome. You need to look at the outcome, the great outcome that could come from you going through that pain of taking that step. But you're so focused on the pain, it sucks. Oh my God, I can't do this. I'm going to be so embarrassed. They're going to reject me. They're going to walk away from me. That you don't even look at what the possibilities are. And I would ask you to reframe your thinking overall, to stop looking at the negative. Stop looking at what you don't have, what you miss, and start looking at what's the possibility. What do you have? What skills do you have? You can communicate. You got communication skills, right? Knowledge, all of those things. You already have that. But you have to acknowledge that you have that and that you are enough, as I said, with I am enough to go into this situation and have intelligent conversations and have fun and relax and enjoy and meet people. You're enough just as you are to go ahead and do that. But it takes practice. You must take step. Step one, you got to take it. And then don't try to talk to a lot of different people. Say, I'm just going to do one and just get it out. Just get it out and then go back and assess. But you must take the step, period.
All
You
right, well,
must.
step one for somebody could be scheduling that complimentary strategy session with you.
That is.
My last question, what can someone who faces some of the challenges that you have talked about today expect from a meeting, a session with you?
You will come out of this meeting, number one, being able to just get it out, right? What are you not clear about? What is the problem that's keeping you up at night? What's the challenges that's been keeping you stuck where you are? What is the opportunity? You get to have a non-judgmental, confidential uh, conversation with someone who's been there, done that globally as a corporate executive and be able to get that feedback. And you will never, no one has ever come into my strategy sessions and didn't come out with 3 or 4 immediate tips that they could take going into whatever it is to help with the area that they have come to me with. No one, right? And so that's what you get. You get clarity, you get a breakthrough so that you can move yourself forward, right? It's no obligation, it's complimentary. And I give you 45 minutes of my time to be able to do that with focused time just on you, because so often people focus on everybody else and what everybody else needs. And you don't take the time to focus in on just you, right? And this is not just a conversation about technical skills. You all get education on technical skills all the time. But success is about you. The key to success is clarity. The key to accomplishment and achievement is clarity. So if you are listening to me and there's something that you are not clear about, you will not be successful in that area until you get clarity. And if you schedule this call, you will leave that call with the clarity that you need to make the move that you need to make. Not, and it don't have to be an immediate move, it can, but there are steps that you can take before making that move. But there are steps in the right direction to get you there. But like I said, no one has come into those sessions and left with nothing. No one, right?
And they
Because
can
I care
schedule,
about you and what you want to accomplish and achieve.
yeah,
And I have the experiences to be able to back that up to give you the right direction.
and they can schedule that at stressfree.ignitewithin.org.
Yeah, you pick the day and time according to your schedule and my schedule. Very simple to do.
Gladys, thank you very much for today's presentation and today's webinar. Very informative and a lot of good, valuable information. And I know that alums that are watching, hopefully they'll take advantage of the opportunity on the free session that you're offering.
Yes, I look forward to speaking with you all, and the best to each and every one of you. I'm going to remind you again, just because you get dumped does not mean you have to get dumped on. See and seize the opportunity from any rejection that happens in your life.
All right, Gladys, thank you. We'll do this again. We'll present another topic sometime soon.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. Bye, Lum.
All right, we want to
Enjoy
thank
your
our
week.
guest speaker today, Gladys Agwai, for today's webinar presentation. Again, if you'd like to take advantage of the free session with Gladys, stressfree.ignitewithin.org. It's there on the screen. Again, for Georgia State alumni who are watching us today from the Atlanta area, state of Georgia, around the country, around the world, we thank you for joining us. And we invite you to visit us online, alumni.gsu.edu, to view the Alumni Association calendar of upcoming events. So for Gladys Agwai, this is Dave Cohen from the Alumni Center in Atlanta, wishing you all a good night and thanks for joining us.
Bye bye.